Okay. So, can you please confirm whether I am live on YouTube now? Can someone please confirm if I am live? Then please just use the comment box. Just confirm whether I am live on YouTube now. If I am live, just use the comment so that I can start off immediately. So I'll be waiting for a response. Just quickly confirm whether I am live on YouTube. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. So let's go. Now, I want to welcome you all again. Thank you for coming around. Okay. And before now, we've been treating about the whole aspect of compilation components. So we made mention of the preprocessor, the compiler, the assembler, and then the final phase, which is the linker. Okay, so we gave duties about every aspect of the individual compilation component. Okay, I said compilation component can also be called the compilation model. So depending on the name you want to call it, all right. So we've done with that aspect of compilation. Okay, so thank God for that. Now today, according to the calendar, okay, we are going to be diving in on what we call function in C programming. Okay, so this is like the art of everything we've been doing since. All right, so the essence of this particular topic is to ground us, okay, for us to be able to know how we can make use of these things and then apply them in real life. All right, so that is the essence of all this. Okay, now we are going to be starting with function, okay, like as it is in the calendar. All right, now let's go. What is a function? Let's start with definitions. Now, what is a function? What is a function? We'll be hearing about function, and function all this while, but don't you think it's important for us to know what what we'll be dealing with first before we can continue with it? Okay. Now, like I said, what is a function? Now, a function is a sequence of program instructions. Now, I repeat, a function is a sequence of program instructions. Okay. Now, I'll repeat, a function is a sequence of program instructions that perform a specific task. Okay. So it is now this is what is inside our material, right? Yes, this is what is inside our material. The first material they gave us then when we want to start the C programming. Okay. They said the function is a sequence of program instructions that perform a specific task package as unit. So this is the definition they give to us as regards to function. All right. Now let's take this thing one after the other. Let's break it down one after the other because during the definition we heard about something sequence. There is program. All right. So it is important we know the meaning of all these terminologies. Okay, so that we will know what to do with them. Okay. Now let's go again. Say the function is a sequence. Now let's start with sequence. Okay, let's break down this particular statement, which is sequence of program instructions. This is too loud. So let's break down this thing, like which is this particular statement, which is the sequence of program instructions. Okay, now let's start with sequence. Now, what is a sequence? If you are talking about sequence, all right. If you want to start dealing with, let's say, sequence. Now, what is a sequence? Okay. Now, if you check your dictionary or Google or anywhere, you will see that sequence means order. Okay, to put things in order. Okay. It means like an order by which you do something. Okay, for example, now if I ask you to arrange some numbers sequentially, what I'm trying to tell you is that you should arrange the numbers in order. Okay, so if I tell you to do something sequentially, I'm telling you to do the thing in order or do it orderly. Okay, so that is the meaning of the word sequence being used when defining function. Remember, they said function is a sequence of program instructions. All right, so that's that. Now let's talk about the word program. Well, we've dealt with the sequence aspect. Now let's talk about program. Since both the sequence and program is appearing in the definition when we are trying to define the function. Now, let's talk about the word program. Okay, now because it is one of the most used word in programming in general. Okay, so you'll be hearing something like you kept hearing write a program, execute a program, and do many stuff like how will I put it, like open up a program or run a program, something like that. So it is important we know what the meaning of program. Okay, because many of us don't know the meaning of the program. Okay, we only assumed, but then we don't know the real meaning of a program. And that's what I'm going to be showing us tonight. All right. Remember, we are still trying to break down the definition of function that was given to us in our material. Okay. Now, what is a program in programming? Now, what is a program in programming? Or let me put it down to C programming. Okay. So let me say, what is a program in C programming? All right. Now, this is where it will get interesting. All right. So just stay back and then, because this one is very deep. It's very deep, and if you don't pay close attention, you might not, or you might completely get lost. Okay. Now, what is a program in C programming? Okay. So now let's quickly give a definition. Now, going back to the definition of function. Say function is a sequence of program instructions, right? So we are to, if we are to go by the meaning of that, like introducing the meaning of sequence, okay, so we end up by saying that the function is an order of program instruction. Remember, program keep occurring, right? So by implication, it means a function is a component of a program. Now, if you let's go back again. Say a function is a sequence of a program instruction. Okay. Now it means a function is a component of a program. So there will not be a function without a program. So program or functions are hidden inside a program. All right. Now, a function, we can say a function is a component of a program that follows the order of instruction of that program to perform a specific task. So, if you have to break down the full definition of function, we will say that a function happens to be a component of a program that follows the order of that program, okay, or order of the instruction of that program to perform a specific task. So that is the breakdown of that definition given to us on our material. Interested, right? Like the thing is very interesting. Okay. So now we know that there is this thing called a function, and then there is another thing called a program. And then trying to check to balance it up, we now notice that okay, function is happens to be what now? Happens to be a component of program. All right. So it happens to be the component of program. All right. So if what is it called? If function is, if we agree that function is a component of a program, now how do we manage to talk about function without first breaking down what program is? Okay. So like if function is truly one of the components of a program, how come are we talking about function without knowing what programs are? All right, so no
All right,
wonder
so no wonder
please off your Jesus.
is of your Jesus.
Let me mute this guy. Can you please off your
Can you
mic,
please off your
please?
mic, please?
Sorry, I'm coming.
So,
This is a distraction, man. Okay. All right. So sorry about that. Let's go back. Like I said, so if function is one of the components of a program. Now, how do we manage to talk about function, okay, without first knowing what program is? All right. So this is one of the reasons why most of us struggle to understand this function of a team, because they are not being treated, or they are not being we are not being taught. okay, in the order of preference, okay. So this is why it looks somehow confusing, because we end up dealing with what we ought not to be dealing with first. Okay, so because of that, confusion will not set in, and we now started finding it so difficult to understand this system, or how these systems work. All right. So if the function is one of the component of a program, so it means we must first of all know what a program is before we can approach function. Okay, so for example, now if you are writing your code, first of all, you have to navigate into your repo first. Then you create a directory, which is your current working directory. You know why? Because without that repo, now the current directory will not have it will, how will I put it? Now the current directory will depend on the repo for its functionality. So therefore, function will depend on the entirety of a program for its functionality. It's like a program happens to be a system that is housing function. So if you don't treat the program first and you dive in into function, there'll be an issue when it comes to understanding. So if you are not grounded, okay, you will end up being confused. So therefore, it is important we treat program first, and then we cannot come in with function. Okay, so tonight we are going to be going to program first, and then we will now start talking about function. All right, so we'll now start talking about function. So quickly, let me confirm whether, can someone confirm, are we still live, or and can you all hear me? So let me know where I stand. So if you can hear me, please, you can use react with an emoji. All right, and if we are still live, please, we are still live. Okay, so yeah, let's go now. Let's go. We don't have time. I don't want to spend more time. Oh, yeah. So now, what is a program in C programming? Now, I said let's talk about program first, right? Now, what is a program in C programming? Remember, we are dealing with C programming. A different kind of programming language. Please mute yourself for God's sake, please. Okay. Now, we are dealing with C programming. There are different kinds of programming language. We talk. Oh my God. Okay, so there are different kind of programming language, as we like I said before now, okay, during our last classes. So I take my time during when, okay, yes, during the introduction of C. So I talk about the history of C, and I talk about how programming language come, and then we merge everything together and then give it a definition. All right. So during the program, when we are talking about the programming language, I list out different kinds of programming languages. Okay. And I made mention on how they were able to bring about the word procedural in our material. So the word procedural happens to be one of the programming languages, okay, which C is built on. Okay, so C is a procedural language. All right. So at this point, at this moment, we are dealing with what now? What we call uh, okay. So let's continue now. What is a program in C programming? Okay, because it's important we dwell a little bit on this entirety of a program of a thing before moving to a function, like I said. Okay, now in C programming, let's go. Now in C programming, okay, a program simply means, or let me say, a program refers to a collection of written instructions that perform a specific task or set of tasks. I come again. In C programming, okay, a program simply means, okay, or refer to a collection of written instructions that perform a specific task or set of tasks. Don't worry. I will tell us where to ask our questions. Okay. I'm going to give a room for questions and answer. All right. So just listen and just follow up. All right. So when it's time for that, then I will tell us. All right. Now, like I say in C program, a program simply means or refers to a collection of written instructions. Now follow me. That perform specific tasks
Akpọchie from
or
Beno maka ahụ na
you need to say, "Ah, God, this discussion is too much." Okay. God help me. Oh. Please, if you're not saying anything, please just mute yourself. This thing is distracting me a lot. Okay. So
don't worry.
please,
Don't worry, I'm checking them. Anyone that's on mute, I will do the muting. Don't worry. Can write down.
thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much because the thing is somehow. All right, so let's go. So in C programming, like I said, so program simply means to refer a collection of written instructions that perform a specific task or set of tasks. Okay. Now we can also define a program. Now follow me. We are dealing with program now and not function. All right. So we can also define a program as a set of statements. Now this is where I'm going on because this is where we are going to be spending most of the night on. Okay. Now I said a program can also be defined as a set of statements. Now, number one, statement. Number two, functions. And number three, data declaration designed to solve what now? A particular problem. Remember, the entirety of we being a software engineer is to solve problem. So if your actions are not uh, bringing about, or let me say, producing a means of solving problem, then you being a software engineer is questionable. Okay, so whatever you be doing, or let me say your entirety of or your entirety as a software engineer must be relating to you doing what now? Solving problems, because that is what we are meant to do. Problem we always like we keep on occurring. So it is now left for you to solve problems. Okay. So if what you are doing is not solving problem, then you should check whatever you are doing as a software engineer. All right. So that's why I said that a program, a set of statement number one, function number two, and then data declaration designed to solve a particular problem. So for every program being written, okay, so the output is what is to solve a particular problem. All right. So don't panic. We are going to be talking about what we mean by a set of statements, data declaration, and then we are going to be diving in fully to what we call function. So first of all, we'll talk about statement, the entirety of statement. We are going to be talking about data declaration, and then we are going to be, we are going to fully dive into what now? Function. Okay. Now let's start with the first one, which is statement. All right. Remember, I want to repeat the definition again. We said a program can be defined as a set of statement one, function two, and then three, data declaration designed to solve a particular problem. Right. Now we want to start with statement. So we'll give meaning to every of these things, and then we'll now understand what we mean by this definition. Okay. Now let's start with statements, or let me say set of statements. Okay, as one of the components that made up the program, because all these things, which is statement, functions, and data declaration, all these things are components that made up, okay, that made up to what that made up a program. Okay, now this is what will lead us to statements. So let's check what the meaning of statement, and let's check how statement operates, okay, in our codes. All right. At some point I might be sharing my screen. Okay, so to write some code, because I will need to write some code. I want to visualize some stuff to us so that we have more Who mutes? Someone mute me? Oh Jesus! Please, where did I stop? Where do you hear me? Like, where did I stop? Someone muted me unknowingly. Please, where did I stop so that I'll know? Someone should talk, please. I want to know where I stop.
You are explaining about programming stuff.
You're
That's
about to
where
get into statements.
Okay, let me start from programming. I don't know. Please, let's be careful with these things. Please. All right, now let me come again. So, like I was saying, I said, a program can be defined as a set of statement one, function two, and then data declaration designed to solve a particular problem. Right? Yes. So now we must consider the meaning of the statement, the meaning of the function, and the meaning of data declaration, so that we'll be able to understand deeply what they mean by this definition of program. Because they define program for us as a set of statements one, function two, and then data declaration. Now designed to carry out a particular stuff, which is what now solving a particular problem. Remember, the goal or the function or the entirety of us as a software engineer is to solve problems. Victoria, I said you cannot hear me. I don't know whether that's how it is for others, but then I think I will continue. All right. So like I was saying, I said our goal or our function as software engineer is to do what now? Is to solve problem. Okay, so if you can hear me, just use emojis. At some point, just be using emojis so that I will be aware. All right, so that I will not just be talking to myself. So if you can hear me at some point, just use emoji like reaction. Okay, so that I will know that okay, people are hearing me. All right, so let's go now. Like I said, we are going to be talking about they made mention of three things here when defining a program. They said program is a set of statement one. They said it's a set of function two, and then they talked about another thing entirely, which is data declaration. Now all these things are being designed, okay, to do what? To carry out a particular stuff, which is solving problem. Okay, so if you as a software engineer, if your entirety or if your functionality is not relating to you solving a particular problem, then you being a software engineer is questionable. Okay, so now that is that. Now it is important we treat this thing one after the other so that we will be able to, read the meaning to this definition of program. Now let's start with the first one, which is statement. Okay. Now, these things are components that made up what now? A program. That is the set of statements, the functions, and then data declaration. So these things are components that made up what now? A full program. All right. Now let's go. What is a statement? Let's start with the first one. Now, a statement is an individual instructions. Now, take notes. A statement is an individual instructions that perform specific action. Okay, a statement, I said, is an individual instructions that perform a specific action. All right. Now, I can also say that a statement are written using a particular syntax called C, and then define the logic and operation to be executed. I'll start again. A statement is an individual instruction that perform what now? Specific action. All right. Now, we can also see that our statements are also written using a particular syntax called the C syntax. Now, remember, we are dealing with C programming. So you cannot use the syntax of let me say scripting language to write a what now? A C programming language. Okay, so it will be an error. All right. Now, the statement here, which happened to be one of the components that made up a program, they said it means an individual instructions that is performed. Okay, individual instruction that perform what now? Specific actions. Okay, and they said this particular stuff is being written using what now? C syntax. Now let's talk about syntax, because as I'm saying syntax, most of us don't understand what I mean by C syntax. Okay, now let me break it down. All right, now so talking about the syntax. Okay, so it's like a set of rules, let me see, that you need to follow, okay, when writing your C program. So that's it, like rules, let me say rules and regulation you need to follow, okay, when writing your program. So that's what they mean by syntax in C. It is called C syntax. So C syntax happen to be the all those rules you have to follow, okay, all those regulation you have to follow when writing what now, a C program. All right. For example, now like paying close attention to case sensitivity. All right. Okay. I think let me show us. I don't know whether if I can share. Okay, let me leave that. So paying close attention to what we called what now, case sensitivity. All right. So case sensitivity. Okay. Now that is what they mean by C syntax. Okay. Now they say statement is an individual instruction, right? They perform specific action. Okay. Now let me break it down further. Now let's give a live example. Yes, I can share my screen. I can share my screen, but I am being careful so that um, okay, not yet. If I want to share my screen, that means if I want to write a code, then I can share my screen. Just follow up. All right. Now we all know, like I said a statement is an individual instructions that perform specific action, right? Yes. Now let me break this down further. Okay. Now take for example. Now I want to explain what we mean by statement. I want to break it down. Now take for example, you want to send a message to someone on WhatsApp. Okay. Remember, statements is an individual instructions that perform specific action. Now, I'm trying to break down this thing, okay, into life example. Now, for example, how will I put it? Okay, say take for example, you want to send a message to someone on WhatsApp. Let me say your friend. Okay, let me say your friend, and then the name of your friend, let me say is Femi. All right. No, so first of all, what you do is this: you will get your phone. That's the first thing you are going to do, right? Now, another thing is that you are going to open your WhatsApp application, right? Now you are going to go to the person DM and then start typing. So after that, you are going to send. So all these action you took are called statement. Those are individual instructions. The first thing you did was picking up your phone. Now, the second thing is that you open up your WhatsApp application on your phone, right? Now, the third thing is that you go straight to the person DM and then open up the DM, you start typing. Now, after typing and you are satisfied with the message you want to send, then you now hit send. All right. So every step you take at this point are called statements. Remember, statements happens to be one of the components that made up a program. We list out three of them. So we are dealing with one currently. Okay. Like sets of statement, we talk about the function, then we talk about the data declaration. So we are going to be treating all these things tonight. Okay. I think apart from function. So if time permits us, we are going to be treating function as well. But then let us first break this down before going into function. Okay. Now each statement tells you exactly what to do, like to achieve a particular task, which is sending message, like the step by step. Okay, to send a message. So when you follow this step, you will end up sending a message to the person on WhatsApp, and this person happens to be your friend, and the name, like we said, is Femi. So for you to send Femi message on WhatsApp, you will need to follow some individual instructions, okay, step by step instructions needed for you to actually send that message. So those instructions, which are called the individual instruction for you to perform a specific action, is called statement. I repeat, remember, statement is one of the components of a program. Okay, now statement, we said, is an individual instructions. All right. Now we are giving a live example based on that. Okay, that for you to send a message to someone on WhatsApp, you first of all pick up your phone, you open up your WhatsApp application, you go to the person DM, you start typing, and then lastly, you are going to send that message. So by doing this, you are following. So every point is time, you are following an individual instructions that requests you to carry out a particular function Okay, so yeah, so that is that. All right. So in a now let's relate this. So in a computer program, a statement is those individual instructions that tells the computer what to do in order to perform a specific action. Are you following? So a statement is all those instructions, because computer cannot program itself. You are the one that will program computer. Okay, so inside during the program, you are going to be including statements. So those statements are individual instructions which will tell the computer what to do. So that's why computer cannot speak for itself. You are the one that will make it speak for itself. Okay, so yes, so that now quickly I think I should share my screen. I should share my screen, and then let me write. Oh, sorry, they say I should end live. No, start sharing screen. Okay, so let me share my screen, and then let me see whether I can write out a a live example of sorry, am I sharing my screen at the moment? Can you see my screen? Oh boy.
Can see your screen, but it's blank. Nothing is showing now. It's showing now.
It's showing now, right?
Yeah, but I think your network is disturbing it. It's coming up and going up.
How about now?
Still showing blank.
How about now? Okay, let me go to somewhere and then see whether it will stop showing blank. I think this thing is, since I'm using my phone, it's going to be a problem. All right,
Cheat me up. I think so.
let me first of all stop sharing the screen. Uh, oh my God. Okay, all right. Let's go to what is it called? Let me use the word. Not, can you see my screen?
It's still showing as your screen, but nothing is showing inside. It's just blank. I think. Okay, yeah, I can see it now.
Can you see something like a note?
It's displaying your phone, something like that.
Okay, let me do something. I'm coming. Let me stop sharing my screen, and then please, I'm coming. Please hear me now. Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, I
Can
can
anybody?
hear you.
Yes, I can hear you.
Well, can you see my screen?
Your screen is still blank.
Okay, nevertheless, see, let's forget about the sharing of screen. Okay, so let's just continue. And if you are with a note, I will want you to write something down, okay, so that I can explain, so that you can understand. All right. So if you are with anything there, maybe as time goes on, we'll find a solution to this particular stuff. All right. But then, if you are with a note, all right, just make sure you write what I want to tell you now, and then because I will be explaining it. All right. Yes, I'll be explaining it. Or can I snap it and post it on the group? No need. It's very short. So I think you understand. Now let's continue. So, like I was saying, trying to relate this particular action we just carried out, like a real life action we just carried out. Now we are trying to relate it to the computer itself. All right. Like as you said, I said, so in a computer program, a statement is those individual instructions, okay, that tells the computer what to do in order to perform a specific action. Okay, so you are to tell the computer what to do to perform a specific actions. So when programming a computer, inside your program should contain one of those components of that made up a program, which is a statement. Okay, and what statement does is that it tells the computer what to do step by step to follow um to perform a particular task. All right, you can speak on MOD. Let me hear you.
Sorry, it's a
Um,
mistake.
Okay, so let's go now. Like I was said, I want to give an example of what a statement is. So in your book, can you quickly write something like int? Okay, int means integer, right? We've seen this thing before. So int. Okay, I think let's me make use of our group chat. Okay, let me make use of the lecture theater group chat. So I'm going to be writing this. So if you're not there yet, please request for the group on the request for the link on the group chat. All right, and then so that you'll be able to um get access to it. All right, so I think it's locked, and let me open it first. I'm going to be writing what I want to say now on the group chat, and I'm going to be explaining it there. Okay, so if you're not there yet, please make sure you find your way there. Okay, and then first of all, let me go to the group settings and then remove these things. Okay, so send message. Everybody can now send message on the group chat. All right. Now, as I was saying, I said so. A computer program is a statement in a state. Okay, in a computer program, a statement is those individual instructions. Okay, that you tell the computer that tells the computer what to do. All right, in order to perform a specific action. For example, let me say I'm typing already. Okay, so you can check the group and then let's check this particular stuff. I'm going to be explaining it what it means. I hope everybody can see hear me, right? If you can see hear me, please make use of the emoji. If you can still hear me, make use of the emoji, please. Let me know. Okay, now yes, everybody can see here. Now I'm typing. I dropped a message on the group chat. Now check it. Now what I wrote here is a statement starting from the int to the age to the assignment and then to the value. Okay, so everything, if I am to break down everything, I just put down here, okay, as regards to the definition of statements as an individual instruction given to a computer or that tells the computer what to do in order to perform a particular task. Okay, now if I'm to break down, this thing is a statement. All right. Now, if I'm to break down this thing now, it means that I just declared a variable called age. Okay. So age is a variable. Okay. All right. So age is a variable. All right. Now we now assigned a value. Now, what is I'm going to be talking about more on this variable of a store because that's what we'll be treating next. All right. So age is a variable. All right. And then int here happens to be what now? A data type. All right. Now we have something called assignment. Okay. Now this is an assignment. All right. Now I'm going to break down this particular stuff. Now this 20 here happens to be what now? The value. Now let me break down it because this happens to be step by step followed, okay, by the computer program, okay, to carry out a particular task. Now starting from the int. Now what this simply means is this, that we declared a variable called age. Okay, this is an integer variable. So we declare a variable called age. Now we now assigned a value to the variable, and the value that was assigned is called what now? 20. It's an old number. So that's why you are saying int. So int simply is a data type. It's like telling the system that okay, the data that to be stored inside the variable is an whole number. So the computer will be aware that what should be inside the age, because age happens to be a container that store a data. So the int tells the computer that okay, listen, what is to be stored inside this particular variable is what now? Is whole number. So that is the essence of that int. Okay, so that is the now if you follow, for example, we start with int, then we go to the age, then we go to the equal to, which is the assignment, then we end up in the value. Okay, so all this step being taken to write this code, okay, is just for the system to store a particular value called 20 inside a variable, period. You grab. So that is the That is what we just did. So we just gave the computer. Okay, so we can go further now to print. So if we use if we introduce if statement to this particular stuff now, for example, now if the age of this particular person is 20, then print a particular stuff. Okay, so all this thing we are doing like that, we are trying to tell the computer what to do so that we achieve a particular goal. Okay, so that is that for statements. Okay, now we are going to be, oh my god. Okay, so we are going to be going. Oh, I believe you understand. Please, if you understand, please just use the emoji. Okay, all right. So just use the emoji. All right. So now let's go further. There will be a session for question and answer. All right. So let's go further. Let's go further. Let's go further. Let's go further. Now, going back to the definition of a program. Remember, we made mention of three things. We talked about the set of statements. We said a program can be defined as a set of statements. Remember, we are dealing with program at the moment. I'm not sharing screen though. I am using the group chat, okay? The lecture theater group chat. I'm not sharing screen. So that's what I'm using, because sharing screen at this moment is like tampering with my phone, and then I don't want to get logged out. Okay, so let's go. Remember when I was defining a program, I said a program is a set of statements. Okay, one function, two, and then data declaration that designed to carry out a particular to solve a particular problem. Right now, we've talked about statement, which we just concluded. Now we are going to be going to the second one, which is what now? Variables and data type. Remember, I said that these things happens to be what now? Components of a program. Remember, we wanted to talk about function tonight, but then we drifted to program because we need to understand what the program means first before even talking about function. Because function, according to our definition of function, happens to be what now? A component of what? Of a program. So if we don't talk about the program first, now talking about function, we left us confused. So if you are not grounded on C, we get frustrated, we get confused, and then we just pack everything and leave it. Okay, so it's important we follow the process, like the arrangement, the sequence, the order, right, as like the way all these things works. Okay, so we must, like I said, we must first of all do what now? Understand what the program means first before going to what function is. Okay, so and then we said there are components that made up a program, and the first one here is statement. Now we are going to go into the second one now, which is what now? Variables and data types. Okay, now I repeat, remember these things happens to be component that made up a program. Now let's go to variables and then data type. All right, variable and then data type. Now let's go. What is this place is going to be going to be interesting? Okay, so just stay back and then just relax. All right, it's going to be interesting. Okay, now let's talk about variable and then let's talk about data types. All right, this thing they go hand in hand. All right, so let's go. A C program work with data and variables. So a C program work with data, okay, and then variable are used to store the manipulated data. Remember when we were talking about command? I think shell permission, and I tried all I can to break down the entirety or what command means. So I gave different categories of command, and I said when defining a command, if I can remember, I said command are used to manipulate files. Yes, I said command are used to manipulate files. All right. Now in C program, okay, like a C program work with data and variables, okay, which are used to store manipulated data. Why do they tag them as manipulated data in the sense that they are following a certain command? Because command itself is to manipulate these things. So if for you to change the identity of something, you have to introduce a command. For example, if I want to create a directory, I would need to come with a command. If I want to navigate to a directory, I would need to come with a command. If I want to create a file, I'll need to come with it. So the moment I initiate a command, what happens? I will manipulate the identity of that particular stuff, that particular file, okay, to my own preference. So the process of initiating a command, you are manipulating something, you are manipulating that particular stuff to change its identity to what you want. So what they are telling us here is that in C program, like a C program work with data number one, and then variables are used to store those manipulated data. All right. Now, let me explain further. Now, a variable is a named container. Remember when I explaining just now, when I talked about container, I talk about a sheet or something. Okay. Now, a variable is a named container where you can store data. Remember, I said variable and data, they go hand in hand. Okay, just follow me clearly. You will have time to for questions and answer. Okay, so just follow me, just listen and understand what I'm saying first, and then you can ask a question when it is time. All right, like I said a variable is a named container, right, where you can store data or information. So you take a variable as a container where you can store your data, okay, and then information. Now, let's assume I love using this example. Remember when we were treating GIT, I was just talking about saving balls, trying to explain the difference between cheats and then cheats up. Okay, now I'm going to be using that particular example again here. All right, now let's assume you have a box, like a saving box, where you save your token, or let me say money. Okay, let's say you do this daily, monthly, or yearly. Okay, now that saving box will appear to be your variable. Okay, and those things you store, those money, everything happens to be the data, the manipulated data being stored inside the variable. Now, I explain again. Assuming you have a box, a saving box where you save your money, okay, and then you put money, let me say you save your money daily or monthly or yearly. All right. Now, take those money as manipulated data, okay, and then the saving box itself as what now? As your variable, as a container. Remember, they said when I was defining a variable, I said a variable is a named container. So one thing is to have a container, and another thing is to give it a name. Okay, whether the container is empty or not, you need to give it a name first before you can now start storing all those manipulated data. So a variable happens to be that container you gave a name. Okay, and then you can now go forward and then do what now? Start storing your manipulate. See, don't mistake it. They are manipulated data. If they are not being manipulated, they will not be stored, because you will need to take action. You need to push. You need to introduce something first before they can move from where they are to that particular place you want them to be. All right. Now remember, when creating a directory, you will come first with a command, right? Like mkdir, then the name of directory. Now, when you create directory will be created first. But then, if you want to still act on that directory, you will need to move the directory away from where it is to where you want it by using what now? Come with a command of what now? CD. Okay, now this is what is happening here. Now, they said a variable is a named container. So there's always a container, okay, that is given a name, but the container will remain empty if you are, or if those data that are needed to be stored inside are not yet manipulated. So those data needs to be manipulated. Like, you need to manipulate them first before you can store them inside the named container. All right. So your box, your saving box, happens to be what now? Happens to be the variable, the name variable. So the name of that particular stuff is box. Let me say, let's say the name is, let's give it a name. Let's give it a name of bank. Okay. Let's say it's a bank. Okay. So you give that box a name, which is bank. All right, and then the process of you storing your money inside, okay, it's like you doing what now? Putting in manipulated data. So those money happens to be what now? Manipulated what now? Datas. Okay, now that is that, right? So that is what a variable means. Okay, so that is what a variable means. Remember, we're talking about variable and data types. Now, since we understand what variable means, okay, and how they function, all right, and how they function. Now, let's talk about the data type. Remember, we said we are still on the component that made up C program. Okay, so we talked about the statements, all right, and then with now we are in variables and then data, and I said data and variables go hand in hand. All right, so let's go now. Please, if you can hear me, please, just like I said, please, just time to time, just be using emoji, okay, so that we know whether people can hear me, so that it should not be as if I am just talking to myself. And again, please, someone should just confirm as well if I am still live on YouTube, because I am basically here on GC. Okay, I'm not living here, so I'm not seeing what is happening over there. All right. So just but at the end, if I cut this thing here, it's going to save on the YouTube cloud. Okay, so we can have access to it later over there. All right. So let's go. Let's go. Please, if you can hear me, please use the emoji. Please use the emoji, please. Please. Okay, please use the emoji. Let me be out here. Let me know. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. Yes, you are. Everybody's going to speak. Everybody's going to speak. Okay, just relax your mind. Everybody's going to speak. Okay, you will talk, but then let me just round up. There will be a room, like I said, there will be a room for question and answer. So you don't have to worry. Okay, I am here. I'm not going anywhere. So you ask every for question you want to ask, and then we'll get answer to it. Okay, so don't bother yourself. All right, so just stay, just relax yourself, enjoy yourself, and then when it's time for question and answer, you can start bringing in all the questions. Okay, I will try as much as possible to give answer to them. Okay, yes. So let's go. We talk about variable. Now it's time to go to the data type. Okay, so it's time to go to what we call data type. All right, now a data type tells us the kind of information to be stored in the variable. Okay, a data type tells us the kind of information we are to do what now? Store inside the variable. Now, okay, now let's go back to the group chat. Let's go back to the group chat. Okay, so let's go back to the group chat. All right, now, like I introduced something before, which I said something like int age and then 20. Okay, yes. So I introduced that and I said int here, like this int here, okay, is what now? It's called what now? Data type. All right. So I'm typing on the group chat. Please, if you're not on the group chat, please make requests for the link on the general group chat so that Betty will reply you with the link so that you can join the group chat. Okay. Don't worry, everything I'm going to be typing, I will screenshot them if you are joining newly, and then I will repost it. Okay, I'm going to screenshot it and then I will repost it on the group so that you can have access to it. All right. Now, as I was saying, talking about what is it called? Talking about the data type. Okay, so I said now it said a data type tell us what the kind of information
Justice, you're on mute.
can you hear me now? Thank you for that too. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Can everybody hear me now?
Yes, we
Okay,
can hear
please.
you now.
Where did I stop? Where did I stop? Where did I stop? Where did I stop? Please just tell me when last you heard me so that I can continue from there, because I don't know when I get muted. Okay.
Sharing memories.
Huh?
Sharing memories.
Sharing memory. Okay. Now, I want let me just go through it. So we are talking about data type, all right? And I said data types tell us the kind of information to be stored in that variable. Okay, it tells us the kind of data to be stored where now in the in our variable. Okay, remember variable is a named container, right? Now, what data type tells us is it tells us the kind of data to be stored where now in our variable. Okay, now I'm trying to introduce another example. Now go to the group chat now. Let me introduce another example called in sum equals to, let me say, something like okay, we use saving boss, right? And I said that saving boss happen to be what now? Let's use bank. And then let's say the money we save is how much? Let's say 1,000 naira. Okay. Now, as you can see, I just sent something inside the group chat now. So now let's analyze this thing based on data type being what tells us the kind of information to be stored inside our variable. Remember, variable here is what now? So bank happens to be what now? Now bank happens to be our named variable. Okay, so it happens to be our named variable. Okay, all right. Now bank happens to be our named variable. All right. Now, like I said, this guy, which is equal to, which is called the assignment, happens to be what now? Happens to be our assignment. So that's what assigned value to the what now? To the variable. Okay, now let's talking about int here. So int here happens to be what now? Happens to be the data type. Okay, so int happens to be the data type. All right. Now, what does int does? Now, what see how int work, which is the data type. See how the data type works. Okay. Now, int we tell the computer that okay, listen, the value that to be assigned to the variable, to the named variable, is whole number. Now, there are different kind of data type. We're going to be dealing it. So we have the integer, we have the floating point, we have the character, we have the strings, many of them. Okay, but now we are going to be dealing with one of them. I'm going to sorry, we are going to be dealing with like three of them. Okay, not one. The one is too small. Okay, now what int does, I mean, what data type does that it tells the computer that listen, the data to be stored in this variable that has been given the name, okay, is either a whole number, either a decimal, either a single character, either a string, or so on and so forth. Okay, so that's the essence of the data type. Now it tells the computer the kind of data that is to be stored in the variable. So if you use a wrong data type, you are going to be getting a wrong input. I mean, a wrong output. All right. Now let's proceed. Let's proceed. So in programming, like I said, we have different data types for different kind of information. Okay, so we have different data type for different kind of information. Like I was saying, I said we have the one for whole number, we have the one for decimals, we have the one for characters, and then we have the ones for strings. Okay, now let's take this thing one after the other, right? We have the long way to go. God help us. So let's go. Teaching how to. So let's go. So I said we have different type of data type, right? With different kind of information. Now let me give us a few examples. Okay, so let's just start writing one after the other. Now the first kind of data type here is integer. Now integer can also be known as that int you are seeing. So int means integer. It's a type of data type, okay, that is called an integer. Okay, now I'm going to be breaking this down to the minimum. Okay, now it is a type of data type. Don't mind my English. So it's a type, or it's a kind of data type. Okay, now that do what now? It's a kind of data that tells the computer that whatever I want to store inside a variable is whole number. So this data type is used for whole numbers, okay, like special type of numbers that include whole numbers, right? So I mean something, if you're talking about a whole number, you're talking about something you can count with. Okay, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on and so forth. Okay, so something you can count with. Okay, you don't expect me to be saying start counting like 1, 1.5, 3.6, 8.0. You end up getting you end up like frustrated also. Okay, so just having in mind that all numbers are numbers we can count with easily. Okay, so those are sorry, integer whole number you can count with what now? Easily. All right. So integer can be used to keep track of many things, many things, many things, many things, many things. Okay. And for example, your contact on your phone. Okay. If you notice, it's not being written in decimal, it's written in whole numbers. Okay. So kind of data type that is used to run those programs. Okay, because inside the program there are kind of components being used to that put together to form that program, and one of those components is data. I mean, is integer. Like one of the data type calls what now? Integer. So that is what we store. It will automatically calculate every of your contact and then store it with whole number. So that is why you are seeing, for example, let's say you have a 1,000 contact, you are seeing 1,000 contact and not 1.00 contacts. Are we following? So yeah, so that is the reason why I'm giving you this and then giving you life example so that we will understand. Okay, so that there are many things you do with your phone, or there are many things that appears on your phone that you are not even aware of. Okay, let me quickly give us some. So that's why sometimes since I started ALS, the way I interact with my friends have like is different now. All right. For example, if they want to start arguing or say something, I'll tell them, okay, see what is happening, see what they happen, see what if they decide to argue, I will just write out a line of code and then give them to go and argue with. So by the time they read and they don't understand what they are saying, they will come back and they tell me to teach them. Okay. So this is how we behave as software engineers. All right. Okay. So, like I was saying, now you can use these particular integers. Okay, you can use it to keep track of many things, many stuff. All right. For example, you can use it to keep track of. That's what it's used to keep track of your contact, the total number of your contact in your phone book. Okay, and then you can use it to keep account of number of book you have, okay, number of people in your system, the number of your friends, number of phone numbers in your contact, many number of the piece on your gallery. That's why when you are viewing all these things, you don't see decimals, you see whole number. Okay, so another thing is that you can perform a or is it called mathematical operation on them. Okay, for example, now if I can say that int sum is equal to 3 plus this. Let me write something so that we understand. Sorry, I hope I'm still here. Oh. I hope you can still hear me. Oh. Please, if you cannot hear me, please. If you can hear me, please just show emoji. Okay, so that I'll be aware. So for example, now if I want to like I said here, I said that you can use it to calculate you can use it to do mathematical operations. Okay. For example, now if I said int let me say sum, okay, is equal to, let me say, 3 plus 2. Okay, 3 plus 2. All right, then I can tell the computer to print all right, so I can tell the computer to print something like uh, okay, let's say print something like 5. All right, and then let me do it like this. So this thing here is supposed to be okay. So yes, so something like this. All right, so I can use this thing to carry out to store this particular answer. Okay, so it means the sum of 3 plus 2 is equal to 5, and that 5 is going to be stored where now? Inside our name variable, and the name of that name variable is called what now? Sum. Okay, so this is how you can use this is not the full this is not the full code. Oh, please don't worry, write this, your computer will shout after you. Okay, so this is not the, because when writing a full C program, you are going to following some step. I just give this as an example. All right, now that is how you can use this thing to carry out mathematical operation, many more. Okay, so you can go on and then find out more. So you can use it to add, you can use it to subtract, you can use it to multiply, you can use it to divide. Okay, in as much that your answer or whatever you are getting is whole number. Okay, so it's whole number. All right, so yeah, so that is that. Now that is the first kinds of what now data type. Now let's go to the second one. I said I'm going to be giving us like three, I be 4 of them. Okay, now let's go to the number 2. Now let's be talking about, or let's talk about floating point. There's no how we can take a break. How more? My throat is paining me. There's no way to pause this thing. Well, all right, sister, let me try. Okay, let's go. Let's go. All right. So let's talk about the second type of data. What is it called? Please, if you can hear me, please use the emoji, please. Let me know whether everybody can hear me. Okay, if you can hear me, please use the emoji. All right, thank you very much for that. I really appreciate. Okay, now let's continue. Let's continue. Let's continue. Let's continue. Okay. Now let's go to the second one. Okay. Now the second one is the floating point. Floating point. Okay. Now this particular data type, what it does is that is being used. Okay. Uh, for numbers with decimal point. Okay. Remember the one we just finished using is whole number. Now that which is integer. Okay. int. All right. Now this one is floating point. You always see it as float. Okay. Don't worry. I'm going to write it. Okay. Now floating point. This particular data type is used. Okay. It's used like number with what now with decimal point. Okay, decimal, for example, we have 0.5, we have 1.5, we have 2.5, we have 6.5, we have 10.5, we have 1000.8, 10,000.9. So those things are decimals. Okay, so if you are dealing with the case of decimal, okay, you should be considering this particular data type called the floating point. Are we following? So you should be considering this particular data type. I'm going to be giving us live application, okay, of this thing. No, I gave us live application on the integer part. So I'm going to be giving us live application on each point I'm making, okay, so that all this thing will sync, okay, so that just in case we see it out there, we'll be able to, know how these things work. All right. Now, like I was saying, I said this particular stuff can be used to do what now to is used for what now numbers with decimal points. Okay, like number with decimal point, for example 0.5, 1.5, 8.5, 9.6, 11 point um 300 points, wherever it is. Okay, like as far as it's decimal. Okay, so that's where we start considering this particular type of or kinds of data type. All right, now one of the most interesting thing about this floating point number is that they allow you to perform calculation with more precision. Okay, so I like one of like that is one of the most interesting things. Like they give you precision. You know, calculating decimal can be hard sometimes. Okay, it can be confusing and all that. Okay, but by the help of this particular one, it will give you it will allow you to calculate these things with more precision. For example, let's say you have a floating point variable called weight. Okay, so let's go. Let me type something. Let me type something. Please, if you're not on the group chat, make sure you are there. All right. So let's say, for example, you have for example, okay, let me type it. For example, you have a floating point, okay, uh, floating point with a variable name. Okay, so let's say what should be the name? Okay, let me say the variable name. Okay, with a variable name. Okay, variable called. My God, let me say weight. Okay, let's calculate the weight of that stuff you are holding on your hand using the floating point. Okay, so let's say variable name, uh, weight. Okay, and then has the ability to hold. Okay, then has the ability to hold what now? Weight number that represent the weight of this particular stuff. Okay, to hold the number that represent. Okay, the uh the weight of something. All right. So I just type it on the group chat so you can read it through. Okay, now let's use for example, now let's use your phone for example. Okay, so let's calculate the weight of your phone. Okay, so we are going to be going with let's say the command would be float. Okay, then we are going to be giving it the variable name, which is weight, and then we are going to be assigning a value. Let's say the weight of your phone at this point is 200 gram. Okay, now this is the uh the coding explanation of what I just this example I gave below. Okay, I said for example, you have a floating point with a variable called weight. Okay, and it has the ability to weight the number that represent the weight of something. Now, the something is what now is, let me say, is your phone. Okay, now what this thing means is this: is that you declared a variable. Okay, like you declared a variable name. I'm trying to typo, so that's why it look as if I'm kind of slow. Okay, like declared a variable named what now? Named weight. Okay, now that variable is being assigned a value. Okay, so that variable is being assigned a value. All right, I'm coming up, please. Wow. Oh, okay, you can. I'm still here. All right, so that variable is being assigned a value. Okay, let me locate this thing back. Now, what is the value? Now, the value is what now? 200. Okay, now what is the why like what is the job of the float there? Now the float tell the system. Okay, so what the float does that it tells the system that, okay, look, the value to be stored inside this variable named weight should be decimal number. Remember, during integer, what happened is that it tells the system that, okay, the value to be stored inside the variable named, okay, is what now? Should be whole number. But this time around, we are still telling the system that the value to be stored, okay, inside the variable name should be what now? Decimal. So the difference between the float point and then the integer is whole number and then what now? Decimal point. Okay, so that is that. Now let's take more. Let me take more example. Let me take more examples so that we understand. Okay, so at the end, I'm going to be giving us a live example as well. Okay, so let's say we have a variable called temperature. Okay, temperature that is assigned a value of, let me say, 30 degree, 30.5 degree. Okay, now if we are to put this to code, okay, so we'll be having something like this. Let me type it out. So we'll be having something like float, okay, and then temperature, and then let me say, let's give it the value of what now? Let's say 35.6. Okay, 35.6. All right, so that is it. Okay, so as you can see, what I just put on the group. Okay, so this simply means that okay, we declared a variable name called what now? What am I doing? Sorry, this is wrong. Supposed to be float, okay, and then no equal to, then temperature, okay, and then okay, which is equal to, and then 35.6. All right, so what we just did now is like we declared a variable name temperature. All right, and then we assign the value to the system, which is 35.6. All right, now the float will tell the system that, okay, listen, what you have to store inside the variable is a decimal number, and the decimal number is what now? 35.6. Remember the definition of data type. No, we are dealing with data type at the moment. Everything we'll be talking about now is a type of data type, is a kind of data type. Remember, when we are defining data type, we said data type tells the kind of what now? Of data to be stored in a variable. Okay, and then we started listing kinds of data type. First of all, we'll start with the integer. Now we are in floating point. Okay, now, according to this command line that I just gave, it means that we declare a variable name called temperature, and then we assign the value, and then the value is what now? 35.6. Okay, and then we are going to store this value inside that variable named what now? Temperature. Now, the essence of the float, which is one of the type of data type here, present here, is that it's going to tell the system that, listen, what we are storing inside the temperature is not a whole number. Okay, but then it's not a character, but it is a decimal number. So when the system sees float, it will quickly understand what is going to be stored inside a variable. Okay, so yes, so that is it. So that's it. Now let me say, I think I still have more, because this particular place is very interesting. Okay, let me see. Okay, so the kind of data type that is used, okay, whether okay, So let me give us a life example before I continue. For example, um, this particular kind of data type can be used in weather forecasting companies. For example, yes, they are using weather forecasting companies, okay, to represent some things, let's say temperature, humidity, air pressure, and every other variables like weather variables. Okay, you know why? Because these variables often involve decimal value. Okay, so when dealing with all this weather forecasting system, for example, the temperature, the humidity, the air pressure, and so on and so forth, we often use variables and often use decimal variables or decimal values. Okay, so because of this now, this particular data type we play a like an important role when developing any kind of stuff relating to this what is it called, weather forecasting. Okay, so it can also be used to, let me say, back, okay, for financial calculation, for example, calculating interest rate, currency conversion, stock market, etc., etc. So, for example, if they tell you now to go on and build a currency conversion app, the first thing you should consider when writing your programs is what now? Is that you are going to be using a particular data type called what now? Floating point. Okay, so you should consider that you are going to be using a particular data type called what now? Floating point. All right. Many of them like that. Okay. So yeah, so that's that. So that is all about the floating points. And I think we have something like we call double float something, but then I don't need to introduce that so that we'll not get confused. Okay, but I'm just trying to give us the basic aspect of all these things so that when we start dealing fully with the whole function of a thing, you will enjoy it to the extent that you start writing your own program yourself. Okay, so that's why you will need to understand the basic aspects. Okay, all I want you to do at this point is just listen and make sure you understand. If you have any question, please make sure you ask them. Okay, if you are confused at any point, make sure you ask them. Okay, so just make sure you are following, because at this point, if you miss, it's going to affect you. Okay, it's going to affect you. So just make sure you are in line with everything we are doing. Okay, yes, all right. So when it's time for question, I'm going to tell us when to ask our questions. Okay, so please, are we still live? Are we still on YouTube? If you are still on YouTube, please send an emoji so that I can be aware. And then, if you can hear me as well, please send emoji. Okay. Now, we've treated the two types of the first type of data type. We treated the second type, and then we are going to go through the third part. Okay. I think we will be stopping here tonight because all my truth are already paining me. I'm sorry. So let's treat character, okay? And then maybe on our next meeting, we are going to be proceeding, okay? As you can see, my voice is easy. So let's go. Now let's talk about the third data type. Third data type. Okay, third data type. All right, we are trying to establish the fact that okay, we must talk about program first before what now? Talking about function. Because the goal, according to what is in our timetable, is that we are going to be talking about function. But at some point, trying to define function, we notice that function is even a component of a program. So if we don't know what program is, so what is the essence of treating function? Okay, it's like you trying to work. For example, they gave you a repo of ALS low level programming, okay, and they said you should create a directory. So instead of you first of all navigating to the repo itself, which is ALS program, you now went on to navigate into the directory. If everything at that point, everything you are doing is going to be false. It's not going to be correct. So that's the fact we're trying to establish now, that we must first of all treat the program, and then before we now start talking about function. So dealing with the program is like that's what we are doing now. So we want to just make sure we establish um we talked about everything about the program itself. Okay, there are so many things. So there are so many things. For example, I can tell you that programs are, or let me say, software. What you call software in your Windows are executed programs. Okay, so many stuff. There are many terminologies based on this kind of stuff. Okay, don't worry, everybody is going to speak. Okay, there are many terminologies. Okay, but then don't get confused. The goal is for you to know the basic, which is I am giving you now. So if you go out there and you find something that gets you confused, you can ask. You can ask. Okay, you can come back and ask. All right. So I'll be here to try as much as possible to answer. Remember, I am also learning. Okay. I don't know everything, all right. But then the one I know, I will try as much as possible to introduce us to it. Okay. Remember the first time when we started C programming, I posted it on the group that okay, I don't know anything about C programming. I know many of us didn't believe me, Sha, but I don't know anything about C programming. So I typed that thing the other time that okay, we need someone to teach us this particular course. But then since so many people are feeling reluctant, I don't know why. So I said something, I made a statement that okay, if you like teach, okay, if you like don't teach. But then I will read this thing, and then I will teach it more than like you would have done. Okay, and that's what I'm trying to do now. Okay, it's not that I don't know them. Okay, so it's God that has been helping me. So I'm trying to read them and then teach them to the level I can. Okay, so if you have any question, just bring them, no matter how crazy it is. If there is a low probability that I will not know what you want to ask. Okay, it is very very low. It's very very low that that I will not know what you want to ask. So any question at all, if you like, be the genius on C, bring your question. If I don't know them, I'll tell you I don't know them. But if I make attempts, I will get them. Okay. So I will likely get your questions. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. I will likely get your questions. I don't know everything. So that's why I'm using that word. All right. So prepare your question down. At the end of this, I'm going to be taking questions. Okay, so just get your mind ready. I just want to take this last part and then um, we'll call it a day and then we'll start taking questions and answer. All right. So let's continue. Now we've talking about the type of data types. Okay, we talked about the what is it called? We talked about the integer. We talked about the floating point, and here we are talking about the character. Okay, now what is character? Character. So, okay, I gave us example of integer, right? Like int, the way they use them, and then the float is float. All right. Now, character is what you see as char, char. Okay, so all those char you see, they are called characters. Okay, and they mean something. As you can see now, you are started getting used to all those stuff they used to use inside your code. Okay, now let's go character. Now, this data type is used for individual letters of symbol. What do I mean by individual letters or symbol? Now, individual letters, for example, A, okay, B, and then C, D, E, F, G, H, capital letter A, small letter A, capital letter B, small letter B. So all these things are individual letters, like they are letters, like individual letter, one single letter. That's what they mean. Then symbol, for example, dollar sign, hash sign, exclamation mark, many stuff like that. Okay, so these things are called individual letters or what now? Symbol. So it can be used to represent a single character, like for example, like I said, A, B, C, D, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that is, you can use this character to store letters or alphabet, a digit or a special symbol. For example, smiley face, set of stickers. Okay, so I believe you are having an idea of how all those your sticker, how they are being stored, all those the emoji you use, all those your funny stickers, okay, all those your smiley face you use on your charts. You see what stored them is this particular one called character. Okay. And I gave us how integers also, okay, like live application of integers and then floating point. All right, and then now I'm giving you the character because most of us use all this chatting application a lot, for example WhatsApp, and then we send emoji. Meanwhile, we don't know how those emoji are being stored. So this is me telling you now that this are being stored with the help of this particular data type called what now? Char. So many of us have written char like 5,000 times, but then this is the meaning. Okay, so you can use them to store all those your emoji, all those your cool stickers, all those your alphabet. You can even compare them sometimes and then change your initials, your name initials, and then remove and add and all that. All right. So yes, so that is it. Now let's take for example, let's say you have a character variable called grade. Okay, so let's quickly write simple code. Let's say code, a simple line of code. Okay, let's quickly run a simple program and then let's see how it goes. um where is that group again? Okay, now let's write. So I said, for example, let's say you have a character variable called grade. Okay, let me read it out. So let's say you have a character variable. Let me write it out. Let's say, okay, you have a character. Please, nobody answer me whether we are still live or. Please, I need emoji to confirm that. Let's say you have a character variable called. Please send an emoji if you are still live. Please, someone should just confirm so that we are aware. Okay. And if you can still hear me, oh, please make sure you are sending emoji. Please send emoji or type. You can use the comment section and type. Okay, so that I can see everything. All right. So let's say you have a character variable called grade, and this variable can hold a single letter. Okay, and let's say this variable, oh my God, can hold a single letter. Okay, that represent a school grade. That represents a school grade. Please follow me. Oh, don't get logged out. However, this video is going to be saving on our YouTube, so you can go there and then watch, rewatch, learn, and then unlearn. Okay, so thank God for YouTube Cloud. All right, so as I was saying, A, okay, let's B. Okay, so if you can introduce it as like, if you maybe, so let's say you are a teacher or something. Okay, so you can use this particular data type to store um your student results. Okay, so let me say now. Okay, I've sent it on the group chat. Now let's say we're going to break this thing down. All right, now let's say you have a character variable called, I'm not even give it a name, if I called grade. So the name of the character variable is called grade. Okay. Now let's assume you have a character variable called grade, already, and the variable can hold a single letter that represents a short uh I represent a school grade. Okay, for example, A. So if a student score between 75 and then 100 should get an A. If they score between 65 to 75 should score a B. If they score between 50 to let me say 50 to 59, let's say C. Okay, so yes, so that's it. Now, how do we turn this to a code? So if I'm to do this as a code, all I need to do is just to declare a character variable called what now? Grade. Okay, and then I'm going to assign the value. Let me say A. Okay, and then I'm going to close it up with my so this is the answer to what. So if I'm to go further, I'm going to say char grade again, or let me say grade 2. Okay, and then I'm going to assign another one called what now? B. Okay, so I'm going to close it up like this. So let's go for the second one. So let's say char, let me say grade 3, and then I'm going to assign a value. Okay, and then let me say the value is this time around, so it's going to be what now? C. Okay, now this is it. So this is the practical of the theory or the statement I just gave, okay, on the group chat. So this is how these things work. All right, so character can be used to represent many things as well. Okay, just like letters and symbol you around. Okay, so you can use them to represent the first letter of your name, like I was saying, your initial, okay, the digit of your age, or even the smiley face to show reaction. So I told those these things before now. So for example, let me show you how you can use this thing to represent um character of your name. For example, now let me write a full function. Let me write a full C code. For example, now what's the name of, what should let me see, let's call this thing initials.c. Okay. I cannot share my screen, my God. Okay, let me write it here. So let's say the name of the, let's write a C program. Okay, let me call it initial. Please, you must be on the group chat too for you to understand what I'm saying at this point. Okay, so let's say initial.c. So if we vi this initial.c, it's going to take us to the what is it called? The our Vim environment. Okay, so there now we are going to be including our let me type. So let me quickly type this thing. Okay, let me say st, that is our standard um input and output error file. Okay, and then let's put it this way. All right, and then let's go in with our, let me say, the function, our main function. Okay, and then let's okay, so here we are going to open up our curly braces as usual. All right, now at this point we are going to be declaring our variable. Let's say the variable, let's call it sha. Should we use first name? Okay, let's say first initial b. Okay, so let's turn it to first initial. Now I'm trying to establish a fact. Just follow me, all right? So let me say my first initial is just is like that is J, right? So let me use J. Okay, let me use J here. All right. So here I'm trying to replace J with what now? With the first character as like of the first character of my name. So I'm trying to introduce J as the first character of my name. Okay. So here I'm going to what am I supposed to do? So I'm going to print this particular stuff here. Okay, let me print it out as I believe every one of us is on the group chat. Oh, if you're not on the group chat, please refresh for the link. Oh, don't be left out. So okay, let's say this okay, this is the first initial of my name. Okay, the first initial of my name is let me say J, right? Okay, so it's going to be something like that. So I will not be writing J, but then I'm going to be introducing something. Okay, now talking about code. If you are dealing with function, I'm going to be exposing so many things first. And one of the things I'm going to be telling us is when using the printf. Okay, let me write everything so that we understand first. Let me understand. Let me write out everything first. Let me write out everything, sir. I do the good small for seal. God be praised. I thinking I will not be able to not sleep before. Okay, so let's close this thing. I'm coming. I'm trying to type something. You are going to see it on the group chat because I'm going to send it. Okay, so let me see. Call it first initial. Okay, I'm trying to do something and just stay with me. Just stay with me. Just stay with me. And let's close this thing up. Okay, so this thing is going to return something. Let's say it's going to return. Oh my Jesus. Okay, so let's close down the okay, I'm done initially. Like basically I'm done. All right, I've sent it. Now I just wrote a full C program. Okay, now let's analyze what is in there now. Okay, now the first thing you see is your hash include standard library. Now I talked about this on our last class. So if you've not watched those videos, please make sure you do, okay? Because I try as much as possible to break down this talking about the preprocessor. So where we talk about the preprocessor directive, so we talk about the include directive, we talk about the macro definition, we talk about the compilation, what is it called? So we talk about the compilation, okay? We talk about the include directive, we talk about the macro definition. All right. So yes, so we already know what hash includes. I don't need to talk much of that. And we already know what the standard input output. Okay, like this header file does everything. I talked about it. I make sure I break everything down on those videos. So just go there and go and watch. Okay, this in main. Okay, so this one is based on function. So I think our next class will be on function. Okay, so I'm going to be dwelling on this kind of stuff also. All right. Now, I open the curly braces as well because I'm going to write a block of code. Okay. Now, char. Now we declared our first character variable, which is the variable name is called what now? First initial, right? And then we give it a value of a single what now later. Remember, char character, okay, is used to what now? To used for individual letters, okay, or symbols. So we introduce the letter here, which is J. I'm trying to print out something. Okay, now what this line of code means is that we declare the character variable called the name of the variable is first initial, and then we added a value, we assign a value to that variable, like we assign a value to be stored inside that variable. Okay, so char here is telling the system that, okay, listen, I'm trying to store a single letter inside this variable called what now? First initial. Right now, after that, we went for that to print. Now, when I print, so to print, so when I print, okay, as regard to the declaration I did up there, it means that what I was saying that this first initial of my name is now you see something like percent %C. Okay, don't be confused. Don't be confused. Like I was saying, we're dealing with printf. Okay, this is our function. So we're dealing with printf. I believe you might have seen something like percentage %S. Okay, you have seen something like percentage %D. Now you see something like percentage %C. Okay, don't be confused. That percentage S means you are trying to print a string. The percentage D tries to you are trying to print an integer. This one is trying to tell you that it's trying to um display the value, okay, that is inside the variable. Remember, we stored the value inside the variable, and that what we store is what now? J. So it's like trying to tell the system that, okay, this first initial of my name is what we stored inside the what now? The variable. So that's why you are seeing the variable name in front. So we already know what /n means, right? So it means the escaped stuff. Okay, we are trying to escape. It means a new line. All right. So we close it up and then we return 0. So we close up everything. So basically, I just added, like I just print out my first initial of my name. Okay, so yeah, so that's that for that. There's still another example whereby we can compare two variables together, but then I think we are going to be calling it a day at this point. All right. For those of us that come around, I want to say a very big thank you, okay, for coming around. And first of all, let me call the video on YouTube so that we can start taking the questions. All right. So just even as I'm doing this, please make sure you are packaging your questions, throw it at me. If your question cannot shake me, that means um you're not strong enough. So, but then I don't mind. I don't even want question that will shake